Hey everybody, I believe I'm live here on YouTube for Open Source Office Hours with Jay. I hope you're all having a great new year. And I'm not having that great of a new year, but we're going to see if Knox can help us fix that. First of all, I'm just going to do a sanity check and make sure my stream is actually online, because I'm pretty sure it is, but you know, would not be the first time in my life I've had that kind of problem before, so. All right, good stuff. It's showing me as live. Would not be the first time I got some audio. I've had that kind of problem before, so. Well, I'm not going to be able to check that there, so. So, today what we're going to be talking about is Knox. So what is Knox? And I'll admit, I didn't hear about Knox myself until a while ago. But basically what Knox is, and I'm just double checking.
So what is Knox?
Yep, there we go.
And I'll admit, I didn't hear.
Perfect. So I didn't hear about Knox until I had started running into some of these troubles we've had with Tox upstream. And it's, I mean, it's typical stuff you have problems with, right? You get breakage for your configs and things like that, and so like it sort of led me down a wonder of if it's possible that, you know, maybe there's an impedance mismatch between, you know, the way that that OpenStack and a lot of the open source projects I work on might think about stability versus what my projects care about. You know, because if we're a project that highly values stability, then we need to be using. And oh no, get out of here, you spammer! Oh no 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 no. Oh, get that chat out of here. All right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Knox. We're going to try to recreate a Tox config in Knox. Sort of just have a look. Like, I know you might feel like you need some sort of crazy criteria when you're evaluating a software project like this, but realistically, when I first take a hold of it, I just like seeing how it works. I like seeing if it's good, if it just feels good. And I know that may sound ridiculous, but it is something I like to do. So what I've got here is I've got OpenStack Ironic up. You know what? Actually, I was going to use Ironic for this example. Let's actually use IPA, because IPA is a little bit simpler. And my goal here is not, you know, to poke every edge case, but I just want to get my feet a little wet. So let's get master checked out here. And then I will switch Sharoni to get IPA open. Okay. In this window, please. And give me a terminal back. Okay. So good stuff. So we've got the tox.ini here, which this is the existing configuration. This has already been migrated to be compatible with 4.0. So we're not like actively fixing a new problem. We're just digging into something. So you can see we've got all these environment variables set, all this set, a command we run. I mean, it seems like it should be fairly straightforward to port this to Knox, but I don't know anything about Knox, so let's find out. So I already opened up the web page here. If you can't get it good, it's noa.va.codes. I don't know what the DA means. Maybe it's Thea. Yeah, that makes sense given the name here. So we're going to dig into this. So first we need to get ourselves an installation of Knox. Let's see if that's offered in Gentoo. It's not. Interesting. So I'm going to pip -- user install Nox. Where did pip go? Well, I somehow don't have pip installed on here. That's very strange, but we'll fix it right now. There we go. So I was explaining this to someone earlier that if you've not used a tool like Tox or Nox before, it's kind of unique in terms of how we think about packages, because it is a library that you're using for coordination, but it's not like a direct dependency of the software project you're using. So it makes it a little tricky when it comes to things like, let's see if this works now. I think the user maybe goes after. There we go. So it's not something you run inside a virtual environment, because these literally are managing your virtual environments for you. So it's strange in that, like, it's something you actually install at a base level, like you would Python or something like that. Whereas, generally speaking, like if you're doing Python development and you're like, I'm going to run pip, you might be doing something wrong. Like, that's sort of one of those things that's like, you know, there might be some shenanigans happening. So just be aware of that. Like, I like saying it out loud anytime I do something on my system that, like, yeah, maybe not for everyone. But one nice thing is, if you are using pip, make sure you pass it this user. Never sudo pip on your desktop, because that is how you mess up your system in Python. Pip install -- user is okay. If I like Nox, then I'll probably write a Gentoo package for it, quite frankly, because it's, you know, just Python package. It shouldn't be that hard to package up. Knock on wood. Okay. So now we've got ourselves some Nox. So Nox is configured via noxfile.py. Here's a simple Nox file that runs lint and some tests. So it looks like it's just straight up running commands. Let's look and see. Okay, sure. You know what? I'll do that. I usually am not the biggest fan of doing this little cutesy, you know, like super simple hello world, especially when I know I have a more complex configuration to do. But, you know, for today, let's do it that way, because I think that might be a better deal. So let's, I'm up here, new Python file, noxfile.py. Add it to Git. Not sure if this counts as code or not, but let's get this thing a VM to work in. Yeah, you can work in that ironic JetBrains VM. I'm fine with that. Yeah, install anything you need. I'm fine with that. So I needed to get what do you do for copyright header on new OpenStack file? That's for documentation. That's from 2004. I think that's probably too young to trust. Just gonna wait for this to load. The list server for OpenStack's been a little slow today. I don't know why. Maybe you should tell someone. I don't know. I always feel like stuff like that, it's very hard to be there without complaining. Yeah, no. Look at that. GitHub Copilot trying to give my copyright to Google. No thanks. It is 2013. That's too young. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know. I'm just going to put the Apache license here. I asked an IRC, someone will tell me. I shouldn't be worrying about this, but it was just an interesting question. So, okay. Import Knox. Knox.session. I'm not going to call it lint because we don't generally call it lint. We generally call it pep8. So I'm going to def pep8 session. And session.install and session.run. Okay. Okay, session.install is just a call to pip. Okay, that's useful to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these. Put them in a pep8 requirements.txt. Yeah, that's right. Vim is like you can't match on actual white space, can you? Something like that. I don't know. Either way, it's way quicker to do it this way. And again, I need to like have a jar, like instead of a square jar, I need to like have a jar I gotta toss a quarter in every time I run Vim inside my actual IDE, because that's a little bit ridiculous. I'm using an editor, and I actually wonder if there's a command I could run from within the editor. That would give me all that. So I'm going to run session.install -r pep8-requirements.txt. And then when we run pep8 in Toxland, okay, so let's see. We got testinv pep8 commands. I'm only installing it. And it doesn't actually need to be installed alongside. I'm only installing it so that I can get help. Yeah, because I just want it to know what's in the Knox module. And I also want to tell it, don't ever tell me to add Knox to requirements. Okay, so if this worked, I should just be able to run Knox and it tell me command not found. Pip install -- user, where is the binary? Binary is executable. Okay, .local/bin. That makes sense. Home j.local bin. Knox. Okay. Wow. Wow, that was fast. Oh my gosh, I'm just stunned at how fast that was. Man, okay. Well, we're getting somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so that's all we needed for PEP 8, I think. Well, it's getting the environment as well. Oh, that's an ugly environment. Okay, I don't even want to think about why those environment variables are set right now. Let's just keep going. Okay, yay, we ran Knox. Hey, here's how you install stuff. Okay, make sure low dependency, run always. Session.run is installed instance. Okay. So it seems like so each one of these is its own session, but it's a Python file, so I still should be able to centralize just by writing my own methods. Okay. Multiple and different Pythons. Yeah, okay. I can pass Python to the session. Pass multiple versions. Okay. All right, let's try to get basic unit tests working. This might be a disaster, but might as well try. Let's see. So we're going to call this at Knox.session. Python, no. Python does not equal 2.7. You're evil. You are an evil, evil robot who wants people to get hacked, and I do not appreciate it. Oh, hey, Lee! How's it going? Man, long time no see, buddy. I hope you're doing great. I hope the kid and the wife's doing great. It's been a long, long time. I follow along with you on Facebook sometimes, even though I know we haven't seen each other in a long time. I was always just really happy for y'all. Hopefully you're happy about watching some Knox happen here, because what I get to do today, the exciting live stream of man with furrowed brow looking at IDE. Okay, so the Python versions have to be defined beforehand. This is a pretty big downside. So I think I'm going to make like an Etherpad for this and make some notes. So I'm just going to make some notes. is there a way to set Python version outside of putting it in Knox file, allowing a given developer to easily test an n.+1 or n-1 Python version? All right, so just taking some notes down. Like I said, I don't actually expect that this will be anything more than just putting knowledge in my brain, but it doesn't hurt. So let's go look and see what one of those. Oh, so I kind of went over this at the beginning, but I'm happy to go over it again. Like, basically, Tox is a high-level virtual environment manager and test runner for Python. So, for instance, if you had Tox installed on your system, you could theoretically, and when I say theoretically, there's a good chance it would actually just work if you have DevTools installed and such. You could just check out a repo that uses Tox, run the command tox, T-O-X, and hit enter, and it's going to automatically create virtual environments for you, install the dependencies into those virtual environments, and then run whatever command you tell. In the case of almost everyone, it's going to be like unit test or flake or integration test, something like that. So it's about making it easier for the end developer, but given how breaky the 4.0 was, that didn't seem very friendly. So I'm looking at Knox instead now as an alternative. And so I'm basically looking for gotchas, right? So like right here with Tox, like I can tell what version of Python I want Tox to run my test under just by giving it an environment. So I'm running 2.7 here just so that it blows up because I don't have Python 2.7. But you can see that it's trying. And right now with Knox, what I'm seeing is that you're supposed to set up what Python versions by a call to this session. And so if there's not a way, like, on the command line to tell Knox what Python version to execute as. Hey, there we go. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so we can pass the Python version on the command line. Extra Pythons and force Pythons. So and like I work on OpenStack, which we have, oh my god, hundreds, probably close to 1,000 if you start doing really all the math with all the plugins and stable branches and all that. Different kind of versions of software using Tox. And so like a single breaking change is a huge amount of pain to our community. So we're just trying to I'm trying to see if this is a viable way to get around it. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's see. So this is an IPA change. We're going to look and see what Python versions were used for these tests. And we can see we're testing against 3.8 and 3.10 in this right now. So I'm just going to put in 3.8 and 3.10 into the list of Pythons we care about. And we're going to define unit session. That's actually not a bad start. Good job, robot. It's amazing. It's amazing how useful Google Copilot is, as long as you know what you're doing well enough to prevent shenanigans from happening there. So this is going to be a long install command here. We're going to run, yeah, I'm just going to do this. This will make this easier to read. It'll make it look more like what already exists there. All right, so I mean, I'm just doing proof of concept, so I'm not sweating it too much. If the constraints aren't perfectly set up today, if it works once, then that's what I'm looking for. Okay, and we currently install. We'll do the requirements before the test requirements. Let's get that in there, and then that's the session.install, at least for the base one, and the base command is running stester run. Oh, yes, it does do positional arguments. Or does it? Does it? I shouldn't trust that. Yeah, I actually think that's it. Man, that's really good. All right. So, some of these have Pazargs in them for the flake. I should do that while I remember how to do that. Oh, it's like saying Pazargs or. Okay, so, this is all Python, so like all of this stuff should be entirely doable. It's just a question of whether or not it's worth it, it's worth the pain, whatever. So, okay, so we've got this here. We've got S-tester run, Pazargs. So this should be all we're doing for unit tests here. Except for the environment stuff. I got to figure out how to do the environment stuff. Virtual environment. Let's see. Nox environment variables Python. See if we can find how to do environment variables. Oh, there we go. A dictionary of... Okay, so env is a keyword arg. No, this is a property. A property on session. So I think I would set something like, let's do default environment equals, and it's a dictionary, so we're going to say virtual env. I'm not going to do that because I don't know what that's for, and that weirds me out that it's in there. Log capture. Set by an environment or true. So I'll just set it to true. Okay, got language equals ENUS. Oh, it's not equals. I'm dealing in dictionaries here, Jay. Language of ENUS. I don't want the UTF-8 because it's not there now, but I will take it for the LC all. So now I believe I can say session.env. That says it's a property. All right, let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rerun the unit session since that's the one I did before. Cannot set attribute env. Maybe dot update was the right syntax. Well, that ain't gonna fix anything because I didn't do it up here. Oh, hey. Oh, that's funny. I meant to run PEP8 and I ran unit. But either way, I'll test the new stuff. That's so fast. How is it so much faster than Tox? I need to do a time on this. Like, this feels way too fast in like a good way. Well, that was frighteningly easy. I'm going to make that as a note because that was definitely WTF inducing. I don't know. I need to make a note of that. I don't know if there's an equivalent to passive or not. I'm not going to worry about that right now because that's really only there to support people who are doing proxying, which, like, good job if you're doing proxying. That's not necessarily okay, so let's see. So functional tests, do we even run those? And yeah, we run them in the gate. I get a little timed out. Oh, all of this timed out. Dang. That kind of sucks. Yeah, so we'll have to figure this out. Yeah, VM is nothing. Debug. Yeah, that is one side. What about tox-e VM command in VM use cases? I need to answer that question as well. All right. So, got that. We got the unit test running. So we got the docs build. I can do docs as well. Although at this point I kind of feel like I got the information I was here for, right? Like I have an idea of what it looks like. Yeah, start out with that, please. That's perfect. Well, I mean, we're not going to run that many installs. We're going to run this. Yeah. Run this. I think I'll need to pip install dot as well. Okay, got a note there. Got the session to run. Is this the same thing as in there? No, we're using -b HTML doc/source doc build HTML. Yeah, so constraints, environments there. Oh, it doesn't use the default environment. It just uses let's see. Nox-s docs. Oh, okay, so they will not stringify my ints for me. I kind of intentionally did that because I was curious about it. Let's see. Uh-oh. Angry. It passed. We'll see. There's an answer for that or not. Yeah, there's also PDF docs. There's going to need to be some quantity of deduplication happening here at some point if it went to production. Like I said, right now this is just, oh, that's one thing. We can't exactly mimic the name of that environment. That's one thing to note. We got docs build PDF, and then we run session.run make -c doc build PDF. I'm not going to call latex PDF, but I do need to say that external is true, because that is running an external command, not one out of our VM. Release notes. Sure, we need a release note shop too. So, like, it's kind of, I don't love the way that it defaults to using everything in my sessions. So I'm just going to do a quick edit here. We don't need no jobs. So let's clean up the notes a little bit. Seems faster than talks. Need to test for certainty. Default sessions list is a bit awkward. Any type of session created is run by default. If it's there, unless there's a way, I don't know yet, to disable it. Is there an equivalent to passive? Those are good use cases. Okay, so these are good questions to have so far. So now I'm going to ask kind of different questions about Knox. So kind of putting that there so that I don't lose that link. Knack it so that it doesn't merge, or someone doesn't actually think I'm trying to merge something, which they shouldn't because I say do not merge. But, you know, I have the power to use the big hammer on myself. I might as well big hammer it. So, -2. Okay, we got this. Let's come here. So here's what I'm going to look at, though. Is like, I kind of have the question now of, like, we see that Nox can mostly do the job. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not in every case. So then we have to look at what we do in order to, like, the whole point of this is trying to solve a problem. Oh, hey, is this the whole thing? Tags. Oh, tagging. Oh, my goodness, that's great. So we could create a tag of like all the stuff that a dev would want to run and make that its own thing. That's cool. And I saw it by accident. But what I'm actually going to go look at is I want to look at the history of Nox. I want to see how friendly they've been to contributors in the past. Like, basically the evaluation I'd do if I was evaluating use of Nox in an enterprise standpoint, right? Like, you want to make sure that if you're picking an open source piece of software that's going to be receptive to feedback, that's going to be around a while and has been around a while and has a healthy contributor base. So let's see what it looks like today. Well, it's got 941 stars. That's a very good sign. Let's look at pull requests. Okay, these are all minuscule. What about the closed ones? Merged last month. CI. More CI. When's the last time they actually changed something in this that was not CI? Last time this thing got a meaningful bug fix was September 2022. Let's see. Handle an unintroducing bug. It's not what matters that. That's really not bad. That was pretty quick. Like, they put it up on September 4th, got a review on the 7th. Kind of a pretty quick back and forth. They sort of got left hanging, but on a reping it got landed. So, like, this is about what I would expect from, like, a medium-sized project like this that maybe doesn't have that much churn in it. Like, quite frankly, I don't think it does that much. So I'm not sure it needs to have that much. Oh, what's their code of conduct? That's always fun to see. Contributing guide. And let's have a look at the issues. That was the other thing I was going to look at. Yeah, contributor covenant. Okay, that makes sense. Saw Apache 2. They have a Nox channel on a Discord server somewhere, so I might be too old to use Nox, is what that tells me. Open a bug before starting on anything. Nox runs its own tests. It's recursive. Okay. I mean, so far I've seen nothing but, like, green flags from this. Let's look at a closed issue. I mean, this is really excellent, actually. This is someone filed a bug November 23rd. Pretty good bug, actually. Got an immediate response. like, this is great. Like, green flags abound. Like, I'm going to note, looks like project is active and responsive to pull requests and issues, has pretty good CI. So, like, I would say, like, this is about as far as I'm going to take this for today. I'm going to in the office hours a little bit early because I just sort of reached the end of what I needed to do here. It seems like Nox is very valid for our use case. It kind of more comfortable to use because it's Python. I don't have to wonder about how to deduplicate things. I just deduplicate them. But I mean, it's going to be a heavy lift. Like, this is one of the least complex files we've got, and I'm not halfway there yet. Well, I'm maybe halfway there. I got to be careful how I say that because it's like with stuff like this. These are used every time, even though they're not necessarily the part we care about. And a lot of times, like the more complex ones, like cover, that don't really matter as much from one perspective, may not be the best. So, this was definitely a fun thing to have a look at here. I'm happy with Nox as a project. I would say if I was creating a new Python project today, based on the knowledge I've gained, I would be likely to use Nox for it. That doesn't mean that I think OpenStack should switch to Nox necessarily because of the amount of lift it would be. But like part of what you got to do when you're on the technical committee is you got to figure out the answers to these questions. So I dedicated, a little bit of time to that today. Hopefully we'll see what happens with it in the future. But I mean, I don't know. It's nice. I guess the one question I haven't asked, and probably shouldn't ask since Zuul has already adopted Nox, is whether or not there's any other options. Because, like, obviously it's easier and more fun to say this versus this. But the reality is there's probably an entire suite of things you could use for this. And these are just two options. But given that Nox has already been adopted by Zuul, it would at least be, one less way we would have to be different. So, I think that's going to be mostly it for my stream. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I like to say a big thank you to my employer, G Research. I work on the G Research open source software team. We're doing good stuff all throughout open source. That includes, them supporting me for my work on OpenStack so that I can be a full-time upstream contributor. That includes projects like Armada at armadaproject.io, and a lot of AI, ML stuff that's really cool, but enough out of my realm of knowledge that it's hard for me to remember the specific names of them. But I'm really grateful for them for that opportunity and for kind of putting their money where their mouth is and supporting open source, including, me coming here, putting out videos. Hopefully folks find them useful. But thanks for coming by. If you're still around, Lee, thanks very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And if you go to jay.jvf.cc/office hours, which I think is in the description. If it's not, I'm going to go edit it and put it in the description before I end the stream. It's not, so I'm going to edit it and go put it in the description. Make sure that's the right URL. It is. You can go to jay.jvf.cc/office hours, and it's in the description now. To see a full schedule, usually I do them Thursday evenings and Tuesday mornings Pacific time. And I do whatever. I either have a topic like today, or if you're working on anything open source related and you need a hand, feel free to come by, drop a question in the chat. Or just say hello and, share a little bit of time with me doing work. It's, working remote can be lonely. So having, I know I sometimes will watch streamers while I work to have that voice so it doesn't seem quite so alone. And if my voice does that for you, then I don't understand that, but I'm quite happy for you. So y'all have a great, happy, exciting weekend, and I'll see y'all back on Tuesday. Thanks for stopping by.